The prayers offered by Brahma cannot be chanted by anyone who desires to fulfill his own sense gratification. Such prayers can be selected only by a person who wants to satisfy the Lord in his service. The Lord certainly fulfills all desires in regard to transcendental loving service, but he cannot fulfill the whims of non-devotees even when such casual devotees offer him the best of prayers. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. This is a very interesting verse in which the Lord is telling that if you are able to pray like Brahma, then very soon you'll be blessed with fulfillment of all your desires. Isn't it exactly what everyone is looking for? The whole world is filled with people who have so many desires, and they're just looking, how can I fulfill all my desires? They're working, they're doing so many things to fulfill their desires. But, as is said here, one has to pray to the Lord like Brahma. Now, that is the difficult part. Prayers are not difficult to offer, but to offer prayers like Lord Brahma offered, even that is not difficult, but people don't have a correct understanding of how to offer prayers like Lord Brahma. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, the prayers offered by Brahma cannot be chanted by anyone who desires to fulfill his own sense gratification. This is the secret. That people generally desire so many things which are meant for satisfying their senses. Now, senses include the mind also. Senses include the mind. So, to satisfy one's own mind or one's own senses, one may offer prayers. But there is a difference between offering prayers for fulfillment of one's own senses and mind to the demigods and offering prayers for fulfillment of one's own desires of the senses and mind to the Supreme Lord. What's the difference? The Supreme Lord, being the real well-wisher of everyone, he will not satisfy desires which will ultimately bring about material bondage, suffering in the material world, material dangers, material difficulties. He will never satisfy such desires. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, it is just like a child asks the father, give me some poison. Instead of asking, give me some nectar, either foolishly or otherwise, the child asks, give me some poison. The father will never give. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, even though he is the best well-wisher and he desires to satisfy and fulfill the desires of everyone, he will never give poison if somebody asks for poison. So how is this considered poison, this asking for fulfillment of one's own senses and mind? Very simple. It's not difficult to understand that we are in this material world because we have a desire to enjoy materially. And therefore, we have been awarded material senses and material mind, which are the instruments of material enjoyment. But this material enjoyment to be fulfilled, first of all, who awards this material senses and material mind? It is Maya. And then Maya arranges according to certain laws of karma that some desires may be fulfilled. But always the nature of such fulfillment you have to understand. First of all, such fulfillment happens when there is a contact of the senses with some sense objects. So in the case of the gross senses, the 5 gross senses, there is a contact of the senses with the sense objects. In the case of the eyes, it is the form, beautiful form. In the case of the ears, it's some nice, pleasing sound, nice music or nice words of praise, glorification. In the case of nose, it is some nice fragrance, nice smell, like that. But for the mind is subtle. Mind, there is no gross sense object that can satisfy the mind. Mind can be satisfied when there is nice thought, nice emotion, nice feeling, some nice speculation. So these are the ways of satisfying the mind. So it's basically concoction. It's imagination. It's some phantasmagoria, some illusion. Mind can only be satisfied that way. So there is arrangement by Maya that the mind and the senses can be satisfied in so many ways, but strictly according to the law of karma. So, if somebody worships a devata or performs some pious activities or does some good work in this world, then according to their desire for material satisfaction and according to the sanction of Kala. Kala is always acting. Time factor. Time factor adjusts everything in this world. That simultaneously, by Kala's control, somebody is getting some benefit and somebody is suffering some loss. Just like exactly you can understand how the share market works. The best example. Somebody is getting profit, somebody else is losing. It's never possible in the material world that everybody gets some material benefit and everybody is happy. No. One person gains, another person loses. Many times, the person who is losing cannot make out. Just like when cheating happens. Especially share market, all the time cheating is going on. All the time cheating is going on. Because artificially they inflate the price and some person will buy off the shares. Then people who are selling the shares, oh, I'm getting more. So let me sell off. And only later he'll come to know that some person has bought away all the shares, and then he's going to dictate the market. And the person will think, why did I sell at this price? I could have got much more had I hold on to it. Or he's holding on to some share and the price crashes. And think, why didn't I sell? So this sort of cheating is always going on. So this cheating is not only happening in the share market, it is happening with all our endeavors for sense enjoyment, for material enjoyment through the mind also. Always this is going on. So the nature of material happiness and Maya's business of tricking or cheating all of us is that the nature of such material enjoyment is, it is momentary pleasure or sensation by the contact. That's all. That moment of feeling of some nice happiness or nice feeling, nice pleasure, for that so much people are working hard. So much they are working hard. After all, you see people trying to own a very, very nice house. So after the house is ready, then they will say, oh, housewarming ceremony. No, they call it housewarming ceremony. Of course, everything can be spiritualized, but generally the materialistic persons, they say, oh, I purchased a new house, or I built a new house. He'll call all his friends and have a celebration. But after he starts living in that house, will he continue to feel the same way as on the first day when he moved into the house and invited all his friends for a celebration? Can he have everyday celebration? I moved into a new house. Everyday celebration. Is it possible? No, it's not possible. It is just that one day or that moment, that's all. Whatever new thing you have, when you get it new, you may feel or you will feel some nice sense of happiness or satisfaction for some time. But you cannot continue feeling like that as long as that lasts. No, not possible. Somebody buys a new car. How long will he enjoy? I have purchased a new car. It's a very nice car. How long will he enjoy the feeling of happiness or satisfaction? Very, very short time actually. Cannot. You cannot enjoy for the long time. So therefore, in the scriptures, this material enjoyment is called chapala sukha. Chapala sukha. Momentary happiness or flickering happiness. It's there one moment, it is gone. Next moment, it is gone. Some time only, very limited time, very little time. All material happiness is like that. All material happiness is like that. And also, along with material happiness comes material distress. That distress is hidden by Maya when we are working hard to get something which is enjoyable or pleasurable. The distress. Just like whatever one may acquire, whatever material facilities one may acquire, to maintain that is such a big botheration. Such a big botheration. Just like one person, he built a very, very big house. That is before he came in touch with Krishna consciousness movement. So after he came in touch, already he had built his house, he had performed his housewarming ceremony, everything is over. Then he is thinking, why did I build this big house? So much difficulty I had in borrowing money. Now I have to repay that huge loan I have. And then to maintain that house, so much of difficulty. Even if he feels that I can engage some servants, it's difficult to get servants. And if you get some servant, to keep that servant satisfied so that the servant continues to nicely do the work of cleaning the house and maintaining the house, that is even more difficult. And the family members are so much harassed to maintain that house. They keep on demanding. This is not okay, that's not okay, fix this, fix that, this is not clean, that's not clean. And then one of them, they built a house in which some architect, instead of building the house on the ground floor, simple flat house, he built split level. So he has made some rooms down and some rooms up. He's created artificial split level. No need, there is no need for that. So it looks fancy. And then the lady was telling she has developed knee pain. And now it has come to knee replacement surgery. Why? The doctor is telling, unnecessarily you are climbing up and down all the time. Why are you doing that? So always with material enjoyment or pleasure or happiness comes some material distress. Always. Just like if you eat something which is very palatable, you have to be careful to limit how much you eat, as much as you can digest. If you overeat, there is going to be indigestion and you're going to suffer. The little pleasure you had of eating, well, just that contacts the tongue, that's all. Something very palatable contacts the tongue, there is some pleasure over. But after that, overeating causes so many problems. So many problems. And if somehow overeating, somebody is able to manage without any indigestion immediately, later on obesity, heart disease, high cholesterol, diabetes. Now Prabhupada says one place, very interesting. Those who undereat, they may run the risk of getting tuberculosis. And those who overeat have the risk of getting diabetes. Till today, the doctors do not know what is the cause of diabetes. They really don't know. But Prabhupada says, very simple way, Prabhupada says, overeating is the cause of diabetes. Now this overeating has to be understood in two ways. What is that overeating? It's not just big quantity of food. Of course, that is one aspect of overeating, eating big quantity of something. Overeating is also eating very rich food. Food rich in a particular type of fats, food rich in proteins, or food rich in something which you like very much. Any one item, simple item also, but you like it very much, therefore you eat more and more and more and more and more. So immediately if you don't have indigestion, of course somebody gets immediate indigestion, that is good because they will stop eating. But if somehow they manage to eat, in Rome, there were this royal people who were the ruling class. In order to eat more and more, what they would do is very horrible. I don't know whether I can describe that. They're called gluttons. They will eat, and then when they can't eat anymore, they will vomit. And then again eat. So how very stupid and foolish and horrible it is. That's what they would do. So this kind of enjoyment, material enjoyment, all material enjoyment is like that. Even the devatas in the heavenly planets, they have got sensual strength to enjoy better than we human beings have on this earth planet. But still, after they engage in sense gratification, immediately they have a feeling of moroseness. That's very nicely described in the Bhagavatam in the 3rd canto. The description is given. There are special gardens and nice lakes where they go for Nandana Kanana. Prabhupada mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita, and it's also described in the Bhagavatam. In these gardens, there are very nice, beautiful flowering plants, nice trees, nice, very beautiful birds, and nice lakes, and nice, very nice insects, butterflies, very, very beautiful. It stimulates the senses to enjoy. Even if somebody is not inclined to enjoy, after going to such a place, one will be inclined to enjoy the senses in such a place. But immediately after experiencing some joy, they experience moroseness, unhappiness. Because the devatas are intelligent, therefore, they offer prayers to the Lord that if at all at the end of this life on this heavenly planet, we have got some punya left, some pious credits if it is left, we pray that by the benediction of the Lord, in exchange for those pious credit, we may take birth on the earth as human beings and engage in devotional service. This is their prayer. The intelligent demigods pray like this. Even on the heavenly planets, they can do devotional service. It's not that they cannot do. But the conditions for doing devotional service in the heavenly planets is so very different. They're surrounded by so much facility for enjoyment that very easily the desire or the inclination for devotional service will not easily awaken in their heart. They'll always be generally inclined for material enjoyment. Therefore, it's very difficult. In that sense, it is difficult. In the lower planets, the consciousness is so much absorbed in trying to counteract some miseries or distress or some working hard for some facilities, some benefits, material gain, that they cannot think of doing devotional service. Only on the earth, in the human form of life, there is very nice facility for doing devotional service. Very nice facility. Because here, there is neither too much of enjoyment nor too much of suffering. That is this human body, this wonderful human body. You consider whether a rich man or a poor man, whether one is Indian or one is American, whether one is educated or uneducated, correct? They can eat some quantity of food and they can relish, derive some taste out of it, correct? Everybody can. But as soon as they eat little more, discomfort or some indigestion. So thereby, they will not generally, it is expected that they will generally not go so much for enjoying eating all the time. So that kind of facility is there in this human form of life. You see? Unless one is in too much of tamoguna, one cannot enjoy sleeping more and more and more and more. Not possible. One cannot sleep too many hours. You can't sleep all 24 hours in a day if there are 24 hours in a day. So like that human form of life, one is actually blessed to do devotional service. The conditions are very, very favorable as compared to the conditions of different other bodies in the other planets. This human form of body on the earth is the most suitable for devotional service. That's why Prabhupada says it is regrettable if, in spite of having this human form of body on this earth planet, people are not engaged in devotional service. They have created a civilization where they are busy with so many other activities other than bhakti. So therefore, it is necessary, it is the necessity of preaching this Krishna consciousness, at least among the human beings who are residing on this earth planet. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu particularly points out, Prithvi te ache yata nagaradigram sarvatra prachar hoibe murna. Every town and village, wherever there are human beings residing on this earth planet. And even in the Bhagavatam, many places, this human form of life is particularly glorified. It is such a nice facility in the human form of life to cultivate devotional service. It's very easy. Devotional service is easy, especially for human beings. Why? Because human beings have got this tongue and these ears with which they generally engage in some talking and hearing. All human beings, even small children also, they're not educated, they don't know anything much, they keep talking and hearing, talking and hearing. So that talking and hearing, according to the Bhagavatam, simply you vibrate the name of Krishna and hear the name of Krishna. You discuss about Krishna and talk about Krishna and hear about Krishna. In this way, very easily anybody can do devotional service and take pleasure in such devotional service. You can satisfy your senses also, you can satisfy your mind in such devotional service, because the glorification of Krishna is very pleasing to hear. We are accustomed to hearing glorification of different persons other than Krishna, because out of ignorance mostly, or out of some false ego, one person glorifies another person in the society. This goes on. Why don't people glorify Krishna? This is a suggestion by the scriptures. Krishna is such a wonderful person. Krishna is so great. Krishna is so kind. Krishna is full of so many qualities which are worth glorifying. So why not glorify Krishna? You see, if at all there is something called good news in the newspapers, because nowadays not much good news is there. But India Today magazine, the editor was writing in one particular issue that generally we reporters, we are accused that we report so many negative things. In the name of investigative journalism, we report about crime, we report about corruption, we report about so many scams. So he decided, one issue, we are not going to have any bad news. We'll have only good news. So many different news he's talking about. This person is trying to innovate and bring about some new technology for helping some underprivileged class of people. And like that, some news here and there, something he's reported. Somebody is trying to generate power through wind and then put one windmill in poor area where they'll get free electricity because they can't afford to pay electricity bill. So they are benefited like that. So many different projects that are going on, innovations that are happening. But still, as long as somebody is working on the material platform, trying to satisfy the senses and the mind, they cannot be happy. They cannot make people really happy that way. Their intention is good. And they are sacrificing and working selflessly. Yeah, many people are there. But they have no clue as to what can really make a person happy and satisfied in a lasting way. That is the challenge. If I can make you happy and satisfied so that never again you will be dissatisfied, never again you will be unhappy. Is that possible? Materially, it is not possible. Materially, it's not possible. Only spiritually, it is possible. That spiritual happiness and satisfaction is very easy through chanting and hearing the holy name of Krishna. Through describing Krishna's wonderful form, qualities, activities, pastimes, through descriptions from the Bhagavatam about Krishna and his incarnations and his devotees. Through that, very easily it is possible to satisfy any person. It is just that you have to develop a little taste for this, because we lost that taste by some bad habits. We have lost the taste. We lost the taste. So if we regain that taste for hearing about Krishna, for speaking about Krishna, then very nicely we can engage in chanting, hearing about Krishna and derive pleasure out of it, which is actually unlimited. This pleasure of Krishna Bhakti is unlimited. Rupa Goswami says this bhakti, pleasure of bhakti is called bhakti rasa. Rasa means it is something which is specially relishable. Specially relishable. Rasa generally is understood as some juice, nectar. But the real nectar is not some fruit juice. That's not real nectar. That may be palatable and relishable, nice to taste. But that is just again momentary. The real nectar, which you can relish unlimitedly, Bhakti Rasa Amrita. Bhakti Rasa, he describes as Amrita. It is nectar. And it is of the quantity of an ocean. Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu. Material world, all happiness, even though it is temporary, still the quantity of happiness is very little. It is one poet, Vidyapati, Vaishnava poet, he says, all the pleasure of material relationships which may seem to last, such pleasure is like a drop of water in the dry desert. Water is valuable in the desert. But what is the value of one drop of water in the desert? What is required is an ocean of water. Similarly, the happiness we are looking for, even if somebody says, yes, there is material happiness, there's something called material happiness, but what is the quantity of happiness you get? It is very, very, very little. So the quantity of happiness that you're looking for is available only in Bhakti Rasa. And it is not mixed with any distress. Bhakti rasa, there is no distress, there is no loss, there is no pain, there is no difficulty. Like, what is the difficulty in chanting and hearing? Anybody can do it. So just that we have to develop a little taste. And we should be in good association of nice devotees. Then very easy. It's not difficult. So, simply by executing this easy devotional service, and also Krishna becomes very easily pleased by devotional service. That's also important. That's what is being said here. If you are able to please the Supreme Lord, very easily all your desires will be fulfilled. All your desires will be fulfilled. No more desires will remain to be fulfilled. What happens when you take to devotional service? Your desires change. Your desires become purified. Till somebody is engaged in devotional service, they have got so many material desires. And those material desires are based on karma. And along with fulfillment, even somebody has good karma, along with fulfillment comes so many distresses, so many difficulties, so many problems. So, spiritual desires are not like that. So, when somebody renders devotional service, their material desires get purified and they no more have any material desires. They have spiritual desires. And spiritual desires are very easy to be fulfilled. Krishna is very eager to fulfill. Even if you don't ask, Krishna will fulfill your spiritual desires. Even if you don't ask. So, Krishna will fulfill all spiritual desires very quickly. Again, these spiritual desires are very quickly satisfied. Material desires are not quickly satisfied, never. It takes time. Maybe some desires take little time, some desires take more time, some desires take millions of years. Millions of years. Somebody aspires to occupy the post of Brahma. How long will it take? Post of Brahma. They have to rise through the ladder. So Brahma's post is like he is the head of 33 crore devatas. It's not easy. Whereas somebody becomes a pure devotee, then his position is greater than the position of all the demigods, including that of Brahma. Just like Prahlad Maharaj. Brahma came when Prahlad Maharaj was saved by Narasimha Deva. And Narasimha blessed Prahlad Maharaj after killing Hiranyakashipu, and he went away. But Brahma installed Prahlad Maharaj as the king. And then Brahma actually blessed Prahlad that you are the most fortunate. You are the greatest. So a devotee's position is the highest position in the entire creation. Pure devotee's position is like that. And even the devatas, they are always hankering to take the blessings of such pure devotees. So wherever there is a pure devotee, the devatas are coming sometimes even invisibly and trying to take the blessings of such pure devotees. Because it's not easy to get blessings of pure devotees. Pure devotees are rare, but their blessings are even more rare. Because again, the pure devotees also, they don't want to give some material benefit to people, knowing very well it is useless. It is useless to give some material benefit. they want to give spiritual benedictions. They want to satisfy spiritual desires, spiritual fulfillment. Same like the Supreme Lord. So, the Devatas who are intelligent, who are aware, what is the value of such blessings for the pure devotees, they come wherever pure devotees are, many times even invisibly, and they seek the blessings of such pure devotees. For us, we are very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has come and he's established this movement and given us so many different blessings in the form of his books, in the form of his teachings, in the form of his institution, that very easily we can get his blessings, especially for devotional service, for devotional advancement. We can very easily get his blessings. And through him, very easily, Krishna can be pleased. Krishna can be pleased. Very easily. If you try to please him, you can please Krishna. And therefore, for those who are trying to get the blessings of the Supreme Lord, get fulfillment of all their desires through to pleasing the Supreme Lord, the easy way is to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and worship him, follow his directions or instructions, and actually get his blessings and very easily make spiritual advancement to fulfill all of one's desires. Okay, so I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.